Bro, I almost clicked start stream. That would have been bad. I was not prepared for that. Peterbot wants to play with Pollo. Now, they've been a duo before. Y'all know back in chapter 5, they were destroying, right? But as you can tell, if you saw the last one, Ager's Acorn and Pollo destroyed Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot by a long shot. It was really, really bad. It was terrible. Cold and Rituals look kind of washed when it comes to their landing, and it looks like Peterbot just wants to play with Pollo. Pollo is one of the best players at the moment. May even be in contender to be better than Peterbot. Let me know in the comments which one you think is better. K-Dog, huge shout out to his, all this stuff's going to be in the description, of course. Let's get into the video.
Confirmation that Peterbot is going to be playing with Pollo next year. I wanted to do something a little bit different in today's video. I wanted to go over some of the most popular topics that these pros have been talking about recently, share them with you guys, and then give my opinions on them as well. I have also been sick over these past couple of days, so if I sound a little bit different, that's completely my bad.
Hope you feel better, brother.
First video starts though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we are so close to 110,000 subscribers.
That's gross.
If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code K-Dog in the Fortnite item shop. Without further ado though, we have a lot of different fun segments to go over, so let's just get this video started. All right, so let's start this video off with Peter said he is guaranteed queuing with Pollo next year, and they will cycle through the teammates of Cold, Agers, Ritual, and Acorn.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's being hoe treatment. That is hoe treatment and a half, bro. They have a whole roster. A whole roster, bro. And people are cool with that. Actually, I think they have to be cool with it because they want to win. They know Pollo and Peterbot, they're going to win regardless, right? So, I guess they kind of have to be hoe down. That's crazy because, like, Cold, Agers, Rituals, Acorn, they're all really, really good. But, like, Pollo and Peterbot may just be, like, that much ahead. I don't know.
To try to find their third.
Yeah, at the end of the day, me and Pollo are playing next year. We're going to rule that with the last 4 of you guys who are playing.
Wow.
I'm talking about Agers, Acorn, Ritual, or Cold. Fine, next year I'm just stealing Agers trio. It's just going to be me, Agers, and Pollo.
Wow.
And then it'll be Cold, Ritual, and Acorn.
Now, of course, this is assuming that next year is going to be trios as well. If it goes back to duos, I think a lot of people were either predicting Peter to play with either Cold or Pollo.
I think they should bring back the duos. I think that might sound crazy, but like I really feel like they gotta switch it up. It's been trios for too long. I'd even rock with solos. I think solos would be really cool as well. But I think duos would be sick. I think squads is too much, but I definitely feel like they should do duos. I feel like they should.
And I think if it goes back to duos next year, unless Cold has some like insane performance at global championships or in this upcoming grand finals, I really don't see any way Peter plays with somebody else besides Pollo again. They were literally the greatest duo of all time. Pollo just works off of Peter so well. I think if it goes back to duos, there's like an 80% chance that they play together once again. But in this hypothetical scenario here, if we go back to trios next year, it seems like Peter is still very committed to playing with Pollo for trios. I still find it almost insane that at the beginning of the year, Peter decided to play with Booga over Pollo, and
that had been like a publicity stunt because there's no shot.
and even after he had the opportunity to pick up Pollo again, he would still rather play with Ritual. I think he just doesn't want to make the same mistake twice, and he is going to 100% queue with Pollo. And then if I had to make my assumption on who their most likely third option is going to be, I would probably have to say it's going to be Cold. Cold has been grinding the game a bunch recently, and I feel like the thing with Cold though is it really just does depend on what his priorities are going to be next year. If he does still want to be one of the best Fortnite players in the world, then there is no reason why Peter and Pollo should pick up anybody else besides Cold.
See, like, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't want to do that. Like, if you're the best in the world, I wouldn't see. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not in Cold's shoes. So Cold probably done this for so long. It could be a thought of, like, he just doesn't want to do this anymore. Which, like, kind of makes sense. But, shoot, I don't know, bro. Like, let me know. Like, if, just imagine you're in Cold's shoes, right? If you were the best player in the world on some game, would you quit? Even, like, because you know you're just going to win. Are you going to, I don't know, because it's like, are you satisfied enough? I think personally, I don't even think it'd be off of satisfactory wise. I mean, obviously, like a lot of it's like validation and stuff, but like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be dope to still just be number one. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the validation, but like,
I feel like another very interesting option of somebody that they did not decide to mention was a player like Iamzo. Now we know Peterbot is currently the IGL on his team, and so is Iamzo, but I think a trio of Peter, Iamzo, and Pollo would be absolutely disgusting as well.
That would be really gross. And then I feel like that could be a contender for like Clix, Higgs, and Cold or something along those lines. Actually, I don't think Cold would play with Clix. The problem, so a lot of people don't play with Clix simply because he streams, and that leads a lot of publicity to like their landing spots and messes them up in tournaments and stuff. So, to be honest, I don't see like Acorns and or Agers going to Clix. Cold possibly, but yeah, I feel like, dude, Clix really striked out with Higgs and Yamzo because they both already stream a lot. So, that kind of fits. But, like, I mean, Peterbot barely ever streams. He streams sometimes, but not really. Pollo, no. I think he has his org he's in does that. But Cold, Agers, and Acorn literally never stream.
Wow.
So
I think the only way that trio would
happened.
really ever come to fruition, though, is if Iamzo wants to leave Clix and Higgs. And they all, as of right now, seem very loyal to each other, so I don't know how much of a realistic possibility that is. But you guys can't tell me that that trio doesn't sound literally insane. Are these...
Actually, you know what? I hear it in clips all the time, so I'm going to go off clips. There seems like some type of beef. Fake or not, it's going to be like a mental thing, you think? Because, like, they'll always say, like, Higgs isn't grinding. Loki, it's kind of Clix not grinding because he does a lot of content. But, like, that's just him as a content creator. I would say Yamzo's the hardest grinder by far. Like, he's probably out grinding, I would say, Clix and Higgs 100%. You'll see him stream until, like, 3 in the morning. Like, it's actually crazy. But who knows? Maybe Clix behind the scenes is grinding. Maybe Higgs behind the scenes grinding. It does look like Higgs and Clix are more of like the content creative side more than Yamzo. Like I think personally, Yamzo is probably gonna go the farthest out of the 3. If you were to ask me like which one you think is gonna go farther, I think Yamzo. I think he's just really, really focused on like being one of the best players in the game, and he's even showed it with like an evoking of emotion when he's in his clips. Like you can hear it in his voice, like "Yo, you're not a grinder. Like what the fuck?" Like I can see.
These next two clips kind of go hand in hand. Peter has not played the game in over 2 days at this point. While Ritual was grinding off spawn fights, he did actually play like...
What an image. But it's ironic because like their landing spots or their landings were worse compared to Peterbot. Like I saw the VODs with the last division final. Their landing spots, their landing were like really high up. I was gliding compared to Pollo's team where they were really, really low. Peterbot was the closest to them on that height wise as they were landing down. Like he's not on the game, but he's low-key doing better. So like make that make sense, right?
Yesterday, I'm pretty sure, because he was playing off spawns. But I don't know why people were making this such a big deal. We are literally in a 2-week tournament break where there
Oh, true, yeah. Epic Games is on break. Why can't Peterbot be on break too? What?
really isn't anything to be playing for right now. I do kind of agree to a certain extent that him playing off spawns is almost necessary, especially after getting 5-1 off spawn. But I think a lot of us would also probably agree that Peter wasn't even the one like directly selling those off spawn fights or anything.
Yeah, thank you, K-Dog. Like, I'm not glazing. You can just look at the clips. Like, Peterbot, I'm not gonna lie, he did all he could. His teammates, Loki, they just got outplayed. I'm not even saying, like, they're doing that bad. Because, like, realistically, I mean, they were, like, there could have been better, right? However, Pollo and his crew, Agers and Acorn, they just know the spot better. Like, by far. They just know the spot better by a long shot. So there's not much you could really do about that other than rework what strategy you got to do going forward next. Like, that's as simple as that. Like, they were just, if you watched it, they were just outclassed.
He was still holding his own. I think it also just goes back to priorities though. Last year when Peter had no other priorities in his life besides being the best player in the world, that is exactly what ended up happening for him. He was literally playing like every single scrim session every single day. He was playing the morning ones, the midday ones, and the night scrims. He was playing every single EU tournament. He was playing Asia tournaments late night with Faxity. Peter has not played an EU tournament since the Solo Cash Cup on January 24th of 2025. And
damn, that's some pocket watching and a half.
When I talk about priorities for him, I think a lot of you guys probably know what I mean by that.
Yeah,
just to be clear, there is nothing wrong with that either. You can't expect...
You can't have women and play Fortnite. That's you're turning on, or you cheating on Fortnite. How dare he? How dare he cheat on Fortnite with a girl? Yuck. They have cooties and shit.
Him to just dedicate his whole entire life forever to Fortnite. Yuck. But I think this also relates to this next clip that I want to show you guys, which is a clip of Pollo, which could potentially be some propaganda by Pollo trying to sabotage
propaganda. Oh my
Peter's trio. But I just want to show you guys what he has to say.
What does he say?
You don't know what Peter was telling me? He said he just wants to like fast forward to next year already. Not even trying to play.
Now, I think this clip is really interesting because I think Peter is also just another one of those type of players that when he is playing with people he enjoys playing with, he is willing to grind a lot more.
True. True. That's very, very true. We all know it. You can put it in your shoes, or you can just think about it when you play with your friends. When you play with your friends, you want to play the game, but you don't want to play the game by
Even
yourself.
though they have the whole off-spawn beef right now, at the end of the day, Peter and Pollo are
Oh yeah, they live together, by the way. Peterbot and Pollo don't have beef. Keep that in mind. They don't. They literally live in the same house. They're cool.
literally best friends with each other. If
Yeah.
Peter was able to queue every single tournament with Pollo, I think he would be a lot more wanting to grind. But I mean, Peter did kind of put this onto himself at the end of the day, so I can't necessarily really feel too bad for him. We got some really interesting other clips as well, also pertaining to duos.
That's a Peterbot clip, by the way. How disgusting is that background footage? Like, dog, that's just gross.
If Kanata says that if it was duos FNCS next year, he would want to play with clix.
You know what? You know what? That's actually another one that would work. You know why? Because Kanata is one of the best players in this game, and that's without a doubt. Gawk, I'm glazing, huh? This guy, Kanata's insane. I'm not gonna lie. Kanata's insane. No glaze, right? He has an FNCS win as well, right? He has that under his belt back in chapter 4. But he's a streamer, so he'd be able to fit in perfectly. Like, if they dropped Higgs, I think that makes sense. Now, where would Higgs go? Shoot. He'd probably be with Bolts. Actually, that could be a good swap. I could watch that. Imagine, right? Like, Kanata switches with Higgs because Higgs isn't grinding as much, and then he goes plays with Bolts and Rapid. I think that's pretty good. I think that's good. I can see that happening. I feel like that's good.
Ritual.
100%.
Okay, Acorn, who would you want to play with?
It would have to be.
I would want to play with like Peter.
It would have to be like clix, bro.
W.
What?
Yeah,
So
it's
you
like
think
my,
this would
that-
play?
Who said what? If it was Agers or Acorn, whatever. If it's anyone else, they low-key can't talk. They're getting outplaced. But like, if it's Agers or Acorn, they can't because they're doing better. But if not, they can't really say
Duels
much.
with you?
yeah, you definitely would. Like we played dual reload in the past. Like,
Duel real?
I'm not even joking. No, like actual like reload tournaments and won. Like
I think Kanata and clix would work really well as a duo.
100%.
I would have to assume that Kanata would go back to IGLing, but I think Kanata
Right.
also, just at this stage in his career, realizes that he wants to take content a lot more serious now as well. And
Yep, I mean, for any person that wants to get into competitive or is a competitive player, they realize content is where you're gonna make your money, right? Because unless you're placing first, you're not gonna make enough bread to be able to sustain yourself to be able to have this career path. So to be able to do this type of placement, like placement is good, right? You can get a little bit of money, you can pay for your groceries, whatever. But like the main thing is content creation, the streaming, Twitch running ads, dude. Oh my gosh, Twitch has been so good lately. Holy, I'm gonna start streaming more. It's like, oh, it's gross. It is gross. It's gross, right? And then if you do YouTube, that's even better. YouTube's really good, especially if you get the search engine. If you get evergreen videos, those slap. Like I'm telling you, like content really does pay. And like being a streamer, being a content creator, and placing is even better because you get your name so much more out there when you're placing. Because now all these other pros watch you place and stuff like that. They look at the leaderboard, see your name as Twitch or YouTube, and then they go to your stream. Like, bro, I'm telling you, being like you have to be a content creator in order to like grow. The Cold, I think Cold's made videos. He doesn't do as much anymore, but he's made videos. He's also in an org. Orgs pay really, really good. Like I know Dignitas, I think I said that right. Kanata's in that team. They just signed Bucky FPS, which he's more of a content creator, but he went more content creation route because him in competitive kind of went some buns, but like he's still getting paid really well, even with placing bad. That's a good thing. If you're placing bad, content creation is going to go make up.
in the current trio that he is in with Bolt and Rapid, he is just not necessarily able to make as much content as he wants to be able to. That is also partially because he still has to qualify for globals, but their trio literally doesn't stream like any tournaments together. And if he was playing with clix, they would be streaming literally everything.
Literally. Well, the thing is, Bolt is not Bolt. Kanata's a really, really active streamer, believe it or not. He's a very, very, very active streamer. I think that would just work really well with clix. Just because a lot of people that play with streamers, it's kind of like they're kind of off-put, if you will. Because like they probably think about, how many people are going to judge them. Maybe the viewership, they want that. But more so, it's like, again, it's like that pressure, right? Some people can deal with it. Kanata streams, so he's already used to it. Clix already does it, obviously. But like some people, like Bolts, maybe Rapid, aren't probably used to, even 1,000 people watching them as they're playing. So it's like that different feeling that I think, could work with Clix.
I think Kanata and Clix's vibes would also just work out really well together. And if we're just thinking about which trios are going to become duos if duos come back, at the beginning of this clip, they said that Agers and Ritual would 100% play together. And then from the few like duo reload tournaments that we have seen, it looks like if duos does come back, then Yamzo and Higgs are going to play together. And then
Really? I was expecting Iyamzo and Clix. Oh, okay.
Bolts and Rapid would probably play together from their trio. So that would leave both Kanata and Clix looking for a new team. And I think that would be a really great duo option. We also got Acorn talking about his top 3 IGLs currently on NA right now.
It's my top 3 IGLs NA. If we're excluding me, I say Peter.
Right.
If you consider him an IGL, I do. So I'm smart.
That makes sense.
Go Peter, and I think it's like Rapid second. And I probably
really? Oh yeah, because I guess Kanata's not playing at IGL anymore. Okay.
Guard Rise, something like that. Oh, Iyamzo.
Iyamzo.
Oh no, you gotta go Peter Iyamzo.
Yep. That is, I can rock with that.
You gotta go Peter Zoe.
Yeah.
And I probably put Rapid right now.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I think I pretty much do agree with this list exactly. If I were to make my top 3 IGL list, it would definitely be Acorn, Iyamzo, and Peter. If we're just talking pure IGLs, Acorn would definitely be at the top of that list, and then Peter and Iyamzo are more of just fragging IGLs. I think it is kind of crazy looking back on it now that in the first season that Peter went into IGL trios, Acorn said that there was no way Peter could have success doing that, and that
Wow, what a aged like milk.
Acorn didn't see Peter as an IGL before, and there really was a lot of doubt in his IGLing ability going into that grand finals, and then they were literally able to win the first grands where Peter was IGLing fully.
I feel like that's crazy to say he's not a good IGL. Like obviously he's like a really good fragger. I feel like that makes sense for him to be an IGL.
There is definitely a lot less top tier pure IGLs on NA compared to EU.
But yeah, I guess there's a difference between like a pure IGL and like an IGL / fragger. Now, to put that into smaller words, more brains, less fighting. Does that make sense? But Peterbot is more of a fighting person, but there's not that many people that are like more brain, less fighting anymore. It's kind of like you have to be a fragger now.
Because for the pure IGLs on NA, Acorn is pretty much in his own tier when it comes to that. The only real good placing pure IGLs I can really think of is like, Acorn, Booga, and Rise, I guess. And then
Booga's actually pretty good. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
2 of those guys aren't even qualified for LAN because I wouldn't consider people like Cooper a pure IGL, Rapid a pure IGL.
That makes sense.
Obviously, Peter and Iyamzo. I think this also just makes me realize even more that the era of hard IGLs is slowly fading out, and a lot more of the super good IGLs are players who converted from fraggers to IGLs, especially a lot more on NA, but like on things like EU, we still have players like Queasy, Vanya, Malibuka. There is still a lot of the top trios. Their IGL is a traditional IGL.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that like weird to think like servers literally run the game completely different? As in, the players are just completely different in the way they play. Like EU, they actually have, as K-Dog said, they actually have like a routine of like where some players are at, like the certain categories, of course, whether that's fragger or that's the other one. You feel me? But like, bruh, that's crazy. Like, NA just switches like nothing. That's crazy. NA does not care. I kind of like it, though. Because, like, you get, like, the traditional, like, what we're used to, and then you get new. I rock with that, bro.
Let's move on to something that Miro said now that has been seen as kind of controversial. Miro said that there is only a maximum of 3 teams on EU that would be able to win in a FNCS.
I'm talking about winning and being great. I'm not talking about top 5 or top 10, bro.
Okay.
But your guys' argument was for some reason that NA only has 2-3 good teams. You guys only have 2, 3, maybe 4 good teams that would come to NA and win.
That's a good point. I think there's actually a lot of people good on NA. I think on EU, I can only really think of 3 that could actually place first. You gotta remember, like, if Vino came by himself, I would probably put Vino's trio in the top. right? I think I'd also put. That's a good one. I don't know. I was thinking maybe Pixie might be decent. Malabuka might be decent. I'm trying to think, like trios wise. I'm not gonna lie, because like realistically, Peterbot's low-key dogging on all of them. So is Pollo. Let's be honest, right? Land did happen, right? Don't duos land has happened. Be for real. So I don't know. I'm curious what Mira's gonna say.
Or even have it that could even look at the championship.
Right.
And that's a fact, bro. That's not crazy to say at all.
Now, I kind of have to half agree with this statement. I think definitely I agree with one of the comments that says Vino, Malabuka, Venya, and Queasy could
Queasy, yep. Queasy 100%, Vino 100%, Malabuka I would say. I don't know about Venya.
all win on NA. I think Miro was more trying to argue in the situation that everybody says there's not that many good teams at the top level on NA as there.
Which is, by the way, the people that say that, I think are just butthurt. I think they have to be. I think they have to be butthurt because that's just completely wrong. Like, why are you ignoring the facts, bud?
Is on EU, and he just doesn't agree with that. I feel like I kind of have to disagree with Miro in this sentiment. I think NA is pretty much just a 3-team region with Peter's trio, Pollo's trio, and Clix's trio.
Oh, Kanata, his team. Cooper, his team. Cooper made land. Why are we ignoring Cooper's team? And Reed, why are we ignoring them? I don't know. I feel like people are so worried about the top 1 and top 2 now. It's kind of sad. Like, yes, you want to look at the winners, but like, bro, there's the top 5s and top 10s that you can't just forget about. Because let's keep it a buck. Cooper and Reed obviously don't always get first, but they did. But they did before. Why are we forgetting them? Why are we not throwing them in the top 5? You feel me? Like, I'm saying this because again, a lot of people ignore the really, really good players. Why? Just because they don't get top 1 every single time doesn't mean they're not good. It just means they're not the best. You feel me? Like, they're not number 1. I don't know. I definitely feel like these people cannot K-Dog and some of these other pros and streamers. What are they dogging on? I don't get it. Come on. There's actually good players, especially EU. There's probably so many good EU players, but they don't place that high.
And I mean, even before last season, it really only looked like a 2-team region when Peter and Pollo were like far and away better than every other trio in that first grand finals. But
well, that's been happening for the past like year and a half too, where Peterbot is just above everybody. But that doesn't mean all the other players are garbage. You get me? Like, Peterbot is just above them. At the moment.
I don't think that I would be able to say that somebody like Vino or Malabuka or even Venya wouldn't be able to win FNCS on NA. I think
they have contender. They have chance. They'll get top 5. But again, we got, it just depends where they land.
the top of the top is better on NA just because we have Peterbot, but EU definitely has more higher caliber trios.
Does he mean like is there more EU teams than NA? Is that what he means? Or does he mean like the EU trios are on average better than NA? Because that'd be 2 different
Miro
questions.
also had a follow-up argument for this as well, saying that NA is also projected to win the next land too.
You just
100%, yeah.
doesn't have like winners. Like NA is still projected to win next land. Like if they don't, like sure, like we can revisit this argument. But NA is still projected to win next land. Just
That makes complete sense. And if it doesn't make complete sense, you're in denial.
like how it's always been. Even like you guys will say that, like for example, and Vino knows that I'm not talking. Me and Vino have a pretty good, I guess, friendship. Even him, like you guys would consider Vino to be like the one of the best trios on there, and then like the performances have not.
This quality is actually going to make me tweak out. Oh my gosh. Sorry, let's continue.
Not been like that crazy. And like the only one that's like really keeping up is like Marius, but Marius is Conda land, so.
Now there was a couple of his statements in this that I didn't really understand. If he's gonna say teams like Marius is going to be conned, I don't really feel like you can have the who's going to be conned argument in this, because if you're gonna say teams like Marius is gonna be conned, how do you know that teams that are projected to win land coming out of NA, like either Peter or Pollo, won't just be conned as well? And
I mean, that's going off the knowledge that it's already known. Like, you can't talk about what ifs in an argument like that. I mean, there's only so many what ifs you could do. Because if you what if anything, then you can never have a conversation. I don't know. You can never have an argument if you always what if. But
Like, they can even be conning each other. And then he also said that like Vino's trio has had disappointing finishes, but I also don't really agree with that either.
Hold on. What do you mean? Because he kind of has. Vino kind of has. Because he's one of those, he's kind of like Peterbot, where they always push, right? So sometimes they get really, really high, and sometimes they kind of fall off a little bit. That's what
They literally won the first FNCS that they played together, and then got 6th place with no drop spot at all.
But you just said it's 6th place. Yeah, there was no drop spot, but it's still 6th. Like, it's just, on the facts of it, right? On the facts of it, we're speaking on facts here. Miro's argument kind of makes sense here. I don't know.
They pretty much had the exact same placements as a team like Adriz, Acorn, and Pollo, while they were completely uncontested for both of the grand finals that they played. And a lot of us would also agree that NA is also just an easier region.
I still don't know if this is true or not. I'm not gonna say I'm in denial of it. I think it's possible. But when I look at it, when I look at LAN and I see NA on top, I always think NA's better. But then there's the argument of, on average, EU may be better. I don't know. I will never be able to fully say which one's better.
Once again, at the top of the top,
MS, I see like a complete wipe of like EU wiping, NA in a global.
NA just looks better because they have the best player in the world on it over these past like 2 years now. But I do still believe that overall, as a region at whole, EU is still a better region. We also got another
No argument there. I don't know.
controversial Miro take when he said it's crazy how EU has more LAN spots and still can't win a LAN.
He's just rage bidding on motherfuckers.
More land spots than us, and you still can't win a land. I'm
I can hear the smirk when he's saying
not giving you guys hot takes. I'm giving you guys facts. I haven't said one opinion-based thing
That's
yet.
so funny.
I'm giving you guys factual evidence to back up everything I'm saying.
He's not wrong. This is the thing. We're speaking on facts. You're in denial if you don't think this is true. I'm not gonna lie. You're in a bit of denial. You feel me? You gotta stand on facts, not on feathers.
We're just going based off of the last 3 lands. Obviously, it was Peter and Pollo won the last one, Miro and Cooper the one before that in only a 6-game format, and then Cammy and Seti the one before that. So EU has won 33% of the last 3 LAN events. I mean,
1 out of 3.
a lot of controversial Miro takes in this. I'm very curious on which ones you guys actually agree or disagree with. So
To be honest, it's not glaze. It's just facts. I fully agree with what Miro is saying. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I will say with K-Dog, I'm not gonna fully disagree with K-Dog, with the fact that I definitely think there is some UP players that can place high. Like, I'm not saying that if someone comes from EU to NA, they're just gonna be completely garbage. That's not the case at all. But for them to be first, it's a whole different thing. Now, if you said like you go to Asia servers, now I'd be like, yeah, you got that, man. Or you.
just let me know in the comment section down below. Other than that though, let me know if you guys enjoyed me going over the clips of the week, and if you want to see this become a regular weekly series on the channel. Hopefully I'll be feeling 100% better by tomorrow, so we can
Hey, K-Dog, feel better, brother. Feel better. God bless you, bro. Feel better. Stay safe. Now, this was a fantastic video. I will not lie. This was a very great video. I had way too much fun talking about all the facts and all that happened. So, I want to thank y'all so much for showing up. Use my credit code if you want to support me. I would love to see duos in competitive. Y'all can let me know which one you would want to see next. See you on the next one.